It is the 12th of May, 2020. I'm your host,
Is it?
Robert Palin. It is, yeah. I'm your host, Robert Palin. I am joined, as always, by Sean Taylor. This is the MMA Movement live chat, and it's not quite the second of the week because we done one on Sunday, but it feels like the second of the week, and we're back really quickly. But I think because of the week that's in it, it's been a long time since we've had fights. It's worth it. I think we should do it. So, of course, the big news this week has been Gaethje's resurgence into the lightweight rankings. I guess the top of the lightweight rankings, and he was called out by a one Conor McGregor, a man that we expect to call everybody out once they get a huge win. And it did happen. And I want to talk about that, Sean. And there's a card on tomorrow, and it's not the best card in the world, but it's highly consequential for the light heavyweight division. You have Anthony Smith taking on Glover Teixeira. If Glover wins, I don't think anything changes, but if Anthony Smith wins, we might have our next light heavyweight contender against John Jones, and there's a little bit of bickering there as well. So Sean, how are you first and foremost, and then we'll jump straight into this.
I'm good, yeah. Every day is starting to feel the same. Starting to feel deja vu every day. I say it's starting to feel the same. It's felt the same for a long time now at this point. So
Yeah. It's like I don't know, one of those movies like Children of Men or something where the world has gone to shit. We're not quite there just yet. And it looks like we're on our way back. So, yeah. Before we jump into this, like this video and subscribe to the channel. That way you won't forget or you won't miss any of our live chats and our other videos. And you'll just, do us a favour by giving us a like. It's always good. So let's jump into this Gaethje McGregor stuff, Sean. I think there's three fundamental questions, okay? And I want to go through these three questions, and then we're going to take your questions in the live chat. So the first one I think is like, does it happen? Second one, do we like it? And the third one, what happens if it happens? So what happens if it plays? Like, how's it play out if it happens, essentially? So let's go to the first one. Sean, I'm going to throw it to you first. Does Gaethje and McGregor fight? I'm going to say before Khabib fights Gaethje.
So does McGregor skip does the interim belt become meaningless again?
Well, not meaningless. He could probably defend the interim belt against Conor, I guess.
Yeah, he could. No, I don't think this fight happens before Conor and or before Khabib and Gaethje.
Okay,
That's my opinion. Do you?
I'm a little bit torn on it. Like, I mean, I think the last thing I read from Khabib was that he said he's going to be back in July. So if he's back in July, that's plenty of time for Gaethje to...
Those timelines match up.
But with Khabib, he's had some injury problems in the past. We don't know if that's actually going to happen. And the goalpost keeps moving with Khabib. We don't know. If it's July, I don't think so. If Khabib is going to be out past July, and especially if it's past September, I actually don't mind it, and I think it actually might happen. So that's on to question number 2. Do we like it?
You sat on the fence big time there with that answer.
Oh, no. Okay. I think it happens.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it happens. For a few reasons. I think with McGregor, like, this is a fight that I don't think a lot of people should have a problem with.
Oh, absolutely not. We've been calling for this fight for a long time. I'd have much rather seen Gaethje v Conor than Donald v Conor.
Sure, yeah, me too. I think that was the fight to make. Like, I think it's probably one fight too late, but at the end of the day, I think it is a very, very good fight, especially if Khabib isn't available. So I think in that sense, that's one reason why it could happen. The other reason is that I just don't know when Khabib's going to be back. Can they do the Fight Island thing? I don't know. But I guess if this is going to happen, it's going to happen on Fight Island.
There is some unconfirmed quotes from Dana flying about at the minute.
Yeah.
Brett Okamoto was trying to confirm them because he didn't get the exclusive this time. Apparently Dana said to some ESPN affiliate radio station that Khabib and Gaethje is going to happen on Fight Island.
Yeah, I seen that. You sent that to me today. Poor Brett Okamoto.
I know, he was ripping. I'd say Dana got a text saying, "Come on, man, what's happening here?"
Yeah. But yeah, I just think Khabib's probably going to be out for a while. And yeah, I think it's a good fight. So, do we think it actually is a good idea if it does happen? Like, we kind of alluded to it. Like, I think it's a good fight, and I also think it makes a lot of sense if Khabib is out. So I actually don't mind it.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. If it happens, I think it only happens if Khabib isn't fit to fight. I don't think they're going to automatically bypass Gaethje or bypass Khabib. So yeah, if it happens, I absolutely love the fight. I think it's a brilliant fight. That's a hell of a matchup for Conor. It's so tough.
Another reason why I think it could happen, and another reason why I think I like it, is because for Gaethje, it's still a very, very big fight. Like, it's
Yeah.
probably just as big as the Habib fight. Like, I know Gaethje probably, like, Gaethje is a
It's
good
probably bigger than
sportsman.
the Khabib fight, you know, for
Yeah,
Gaethje.
commercially, yeah.
Yeah.
But I know Gaethje is a sportsman in the sense that I think you've seen it. Like, when he got the interim title, he threw it around, he threw it on the floor and said, I'm going to wait for the real one. So I do think he wants to fight Habib to try unify those belts, or at least to try get the belt. But for Gaethje, like, his manager must be talking to him and saying, come on, this is actually a huge fight. So I think he would like it. And that's partially the reason why I like it, because it gives Gaethje another fight in the interim. And I guess a winnable fight in a lot of people's opinions. I want to get your opinion on that, and I want to get people's opinions in the chat. But I think a lot of people think it's a winnable fight for him. I'm a little bit torn on that as well, so I want to have a chat about that. But yeah, I think I like it.
Yeah, absolutely love it if it happens. I think it's a very winnable matchup for Justin. I'm not sure that the UFC would be too keen to give Justin to Conor. I think if, like, the way the lightweight division is set up at the minute, there's a lot of commercially attractive fights for the UFC to make, and I think if you give, I would personally pick. I'll spoil my pick for the fight. I think I'd pick Justin in that fight, and I think that spoils some future matchups that the UFC might want for Conor.
As in the Habib fight.
Yeah, I think a loss to Justin kind of puts the nail in the coffin of that Khabib rematch for me. Like, I don't have a lot of interest in it anyway. The Khabib Conor rematch. But yeah, I think a loss to Justin is a lot more damaging to Conor than a loss to Khabib.
Yeah. But on the other hand, I think the UFC could look at it and say, like, realistically, are we going to get the Conor Habib fight anyway? Like, I know Habib hasn't been too pushed on it. I think he'd take it in the end, but he hasn't been too pushed on it. You know, we've had the experience with Tony and Habib now that they just couldn't make that fight. Who says that a Conor Habib fight, the same thing could happen? So it's still a very, very big fight for the UFC. I'm talking about Gaethje McGregor, because there's no guarantees. Like, you can say, like, they don't want to risk the Habib fight. That's true. I completely agree with that. But then there's no guarantees that that'll happen anyway.
Yeah.
So I think there's something to be said about that. Now, on the last question, and there was a question in the chat about it from Thomas. Actually, it was from Shane Brennan. Who have you got if the fight happens? So that was my third one. How do you see this one playing out, Sean? I have a few thoughts on it, and I rewatched a couple of fights today while I was working away to try to get my mind right on it.
Yeah.
But how do you see this one going if it actually does happen?
I didn't actually put in any study, Rob, because I was working very hard.
I was working too. I can just multitask.
I fancy Gaethje big time in that one, to be honest. I think that's a very, very winnable fight for him. I think it's probably it's an easier fight for him than, I don't know, I'm not going to say that. That's probably not fair. Just the way he pieced up Ferguson like that, I think he looked phenomenal. I think Conor is a very good matchup for him.
I think the new Justin Gaethje, that's completely true. Like, I think we saw a completely new Justin Gaethje on the weekend. Go back and watch his fight with Dustin Poirier. I think if the Justin Gaethje that shows up that fought Dustin Poirier, I think he'd have a huge amount of problems with Conor McGregor. Just because if you look at who Gaethje fought, Poirier's probably the best fit. Like, as a McGregor avatar, I think Poirier fits in the best. Completely different fighters. They fight very differently. But if you look at a guy who can strike straight down the middle and who has good timing and who can counter, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier is probably your guy from who Gaethje fought, and he put a beating on Justin Gaethje at times. Yeah. But at the same time, that was a completely different Gaethje. He fought like he fought in the second round against Tony, and it seems like he got dropped. And Trevor Whitman done a great job on saying, let's not do that again. That was one of the fights where he got complacent. So, like, I honestly think it's one of them fights where it could be one-sided either way. And I honestly think it's probably more likely to be one-sided for Conor McGregor. After watching some highlights, I just think it would be. Now, again, if that one showed up on the weekend, we might not see that. But it seemed to take about 2 rounds for that Justin Gaethje to show up, because he was actually having trouble with Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, he needs a guy like, he needs Trevor Whitman to keep him focused and stuff, because he just wants to get drawn into a dogfight. He loves it.
Yeah, exactly. He enjoys it too much. That's what he said. So I think it could be a problem.
before we move on from that topic, Rob, what would you do? Matchmake a bit there for the lightweight division. What would you do? What would you do with Khabib next, Justin next, Tony Ferguson next, and Conor next? What would you do?
What would I do? Like, I know I said I'd like to see the McGregor Gaethje fight if it has to happen, but I'd still say Gaethje Habib
in
should
your
happen.
ideal world, everything
Okay,
going to plan. What are you
ideal world. Let's go. You kind of mentioned this one. Let's go Poirier Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go Habib and Gaethje. And to be honest, just let Conor wait around. Like, I know a lot of people will probably be disappointed that Conor probably gets the next title fight, but I think if Justin Gaethje and Habib Nurmagomedov just finish their business, get it done, I wouldn't have a huge problem with Conor getting a title fight. I don't think it's the right move, but like, who else is he gonna fight? So, let him wait around. Because I don't know who else is there. Like, I think Justin Gaethje, aside from a title fight, I think Justin Gaethje is the fight for Conor. Unless you're gonna do Nate Diaz or something, but I don't know how likely that is.
Yeah, I'd do something similar. I was listening to the Man in the Myth podcast with Chuck Minenhall and Shaheen El Shadi, and they mentioned Conor and Dustin, the rematch, if Tony isn't ready to fight anytime soon. So if they're talking, say, July for Justin and Khabib, why not do Conor Dustin? I wouldn't have an issue with that at all, really.
No, I don't. I've no problem with that either.
I'm not sure Conor take it now, to be honest, but
no, I've no problem with that either. I'm getting a bit of light over there. I'm gonna fix that in a minute while you're talking. But yeah, I there was a comment in the chat there as well. Basically saying, this is Thomas Broom Jones, I want Gaethje to face Conor purely because beating Conor makes you a star. Look at what it did for Nate and Habib. It's the opportunity of a lifetime, and that's another reason why I wouldn't mind it, because like the performances that Gaethje has put in, I think this would be a good fight for him. Like, if he wins, I think he wins it emphatically. Or he could lose it emphatically as well. Yeah. But I think it could make him a star.
Someone's winning that fight emphatically.
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna give you a question now in a second, and then I'm gonna go fix me lighting because there's a light coming in from the window and it's going right into my eyes. John C, I'm gonna still be able to hear you, Sean, just so you know. Does Gaethje versus Habib fix the bottleneck at 155, assuming Habib stays healthy long enough for to fight a second time this year? Go ahead.
Yeah, the issue, Conor is really the issue at 155 there. He's kind of an outlier, as not an outlier, but he's kind of sitting there waiting for picking and choosing his fights, and disrupting the natural order of things. So I think if you have Gaethje, and I think Conor has to fight Khabib, really, because we know that they're gonna try and make that fight. I think that fight has to happen, really, for the natural order to be restored there at 55. I think until that fight happens, I'm not sure that there's always going to be a bit of a bottleneck there. I think as long as we're waiting to see the Conor Khabib rematch. I
think you're right. I think I don't think anything really fixes that until maybe some of these bigger stars kind of go away. Yeah, which is a weird thing to say. 155 historically has been a really weird division in the UFC. It's always getting caught up in something. Like when Benson Henderson was the champion, he got caught up in a lot of rematches. Obviously when Eddie Alvarez became champion and then Conor won it, Conor just didn't defend it. And then we had like Habib get it, and yeah, the whole Tony Ferguson stuff. So 155 has always been a bit weird in the UFC.
Yeah, it's hard because it's similar to 170, and it's kind of the average sized fighters around the 55-70 mark. So it's where you're going to get a lot of your talent, especially there at 55 when you have stars like Dustin, Khabib, Conor, Tony, Justin. It's hard to have a natural order to it when you have stars like that. They're always going to dominate, front load it and dominate it, I think. Yeah.
Zneb, if you let Conor fight and beat Justin, then would we be diffusing all of the Habib's potential opponents? Already diffused Tony and then Justin. Yeah, that's the risk, I guess. Like, I mean,
well, the winner of that fight, I mean, faces.
Yeah, I guess you're talking about fresh challenges, and Justin Gaethje will be a fresh challenge for Habib, and probably a really dangerous one. Like, we saw the Conor one, so we know how that's going to play out. Even if Conor can land something, which I think is very unlikely. But yeah, in terms of fresh opponents, it could kill a contender there. That's true.
That's a good point.
Linus, I don't think Dana trusts Nate to always show up and would rather have it be Justin. That's true, especially in these circumstances when it'll probably be on the fight island. Can you really trust Nate Diaz to... Like, Nate Diaz always shows up to fight, I think. But
when he's there on fight night and going to fight, he shows up to fight.
he shows up, exactly.
Getting him to fight night can be the issue, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Nate Diaz always reminds me of a story. I was watching a thing with Eddie Hearn and Derek Chisora. Do you know him?
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie Hearn signed Chisora for a pay-per-view fight with Dillian White. And Chisora said to him in the negotiations, I don't want pay-per-view points. I want a bigger flat fee. Fair enough. This is Hearn's side of the story now. And Chisora was on the call with him. And then Hearn said about 3 weeks into the promotion of the fight, Chisora is at a press conference with Hearn and he says, you're not giving me pay-per-view. And he chucked the table at him. And he chucked the table and he says, you're not giving me pay-per-view. And Hearn came out and he says, you didn't fucking ask for pay-per-view. And then Chisora just goes, I want that Rolex that you're wearing if I win. that just reminds you of Nate Diaz for some reason as well. It seems like something he would do.
Well, he kind of done it. Like, yeah. I mean, he signed a contract with the UFC a while ago, and basically he got a bigger fee up front and didn't get like any, not pay-per-view. We didn't get any of that kind of stuff in the back end, and yeah, it was a problem for him. Let me go to the community tab because we have lots of questions there as well.
Salvastola says Justin Gaethje can beat anyone at 155. I agree.
I completely agree. Absolutely.
I think that's probably a fair point about Nate Diaz as well. I'm not too sure whether he'd bother his arse cutting weight to 55 again either.
Yeah,
I think we see a similar one where he just fights some 55 or at 70.
Yeah, like if Nate wants to fight Conor, it's going to be at 170, no doubt. I think Conor wants it there anyway. Is this the first time Khabib has met someone who's also trained since 4 years old? This is Khabib's biggest advantage. I'd say Khabib is the bigger athlete, but Justin is better athlete. What do you think?
I don't think Khabib's biggest advantage is that he's trained since he was 4.
Yeah, or that he's even the best athlete. I think it's just his skills. Like, I mean, he's a phenomenal athlete, and I think his cardio and stuff like that's always going to help. But I think it's technique. Like, when you look at the way he grapples, he's so tight and he keeps people in position so well that they just can't get out from underneath him, and then he lands shots. I don't really think it's that, but I mean, Justin is a lifelong martial artist, so that's probably going to help. I don't see why it wouldn't. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's the biggest standout to me.
Yeah, same.
Some questions in here. I had one from Linus there. Scroll up. Dana wants Khabib Conor for the belt more than any fight maybe ever. I think he has Justin fight Khabib and then cross his fingers that Khabib wins and then Khabib versus Conor. Yeah, like there's clear reasons why they want the Khabib and Conor fight. We've seen it. Sean's making some hand signals right now. So yeah.
Cheese.
John say, do you think Ali Abdelaziz is pushing for Justin versus Conor or Justin versus Khabib? Justin versus Conor is more.
He's going to push for Justin v Conor, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, because I mean, he's probably going to back his man to be Conor. And if Justin, I mean, if Ali's looking out for that, I'm not saying he's not, but if I was a manager looking out for the best interests of my guys, and if I'm backing Justin to be Conor, he gets a bigger payday against Khabib having beaten Conor than if he just goes straight into the Khabib fight.
Yeah, but that's a double payment then for Ali if he does the Khabib fight because he manages both guys.
So yeah, but then if he's getting commission of his guys' earnings, he gets a bigger commission from going to the if he goes Justin Khabib or Justin Conor and then Justin Khabib, and then he gets the double payment anyway. Yeah,
I think he'd push for the Conor one for one reason. I think it is probably a bigger fight, even if you can make an argument there. And then second, I'm not sure that Khabib really wants that fight too much, the Conor fight. I think he's more interested in new challenges. Yeah. So that'd be a huge fight for him as well. So I'm sure Ali would want it, but maybe he'd try.
If I was Ali, I'd be pushing for the Conor fight.
Yeah, and to be honest, it is an easier fight. Like I think it could end early, but I think it's an easier fight overall than a Khabib fight.
Yeah, I think so.
Rob Michael said, I think Conor is still too sharp for Justin. If Tony can land clean shots in Gaethje, Conor will be able to land and find him. Yeah.
If we see the the Conor that fought Eddie Alvarez, then we've a hell of a fight.
Yeah, I think so too. It depends on what both guys show up. Like I think I've never really seen Conor not show up. I know a lot of people say the Khabib fight that he didn't show up. I thought Khabib was just a better
Yeah.
fighter. I
Yeah.
just did. I don't really see that argument. So, yeah. Thomas Brown Jones. Tony came dangerously near the floor in Justin with that second round uppercut. Conor's counter left is a major, major threat to Justin. It is. It is. Watch the Eddie Alvarez fight. Watch the Poirier fight. We saw it. Linus said he doesn't want to see Nate versus Conor. How do you feel about that fight, Conor? Conor. Sean.
I'd like to see that fight. I mean, the first two fights were really good.
I love a good trilogy too.
Yeah, the second fight was a phenomenal fight. It was one of the fights of the year at the time. It was an absolute wall. So yeah, I'd have absolutely no issue seeing that again. I mean, it's 1-1, so.
Yeah, I love that fight.
Yeah.
I love trilogies. I love that fight. The two fights are great. And like, to be fair, Conor done well at the beginning of the first fight, got finished, and then you can make the argument that Nate won the second fight. So I think there's some unfinished business there. I like it.
Yeah, for me, Conor won the second one pretty clearly, but it was a close fight.
Argument.
So yeah.
If I wanted to make the argument, I could, Sean.
Yeah, you definitely could.
Joey Cruz said Felder versus Poirier. I like it.
Yeah, I don't think Dustin. I think Dustin's probably looking higher up than that. But
yeah, although he would fight anybody, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Linus said,
I just kind of want to see Dustin back in there at this point now.
Yeah. Linus said Ramadan throws a monkey wrench in all of this. If no Ramadan, I think Justin versus Gaethje would be easy.
Justin versus Gaethje would be very good. Yeah,
Habib. Yeah, the thing is about Ramadan is that it ends the 28th of this month, I believe. I think it's the 28th of May.
Yeah, Khabib has said July is fine for him.
Yeah, and come on, like, Justin Gaethje had a horrendous fight against Tony Ferguson. I know in the end it was, I guess the later rounds were fairly one-sided, but those early rounds he took some big shots. So I don't think he'll be back anytime soon, as in the next 2 months. I think July or August is probably perfect for him, to be honest. Andrew Hibbs, all good fights. Yeah, that's the thing about lightweight. You can't go wrong. Like, we're throwing around like Dustin versus like Conor and Conor versus Nate. It's like, yes, they're all great fights.
To all the fights we've said, we'd have absolutely no issues watching any of them. So that's a good thing.
Exactly. Alistair Rowe. Is this the beginning of the end for Tony? Definitely didn't look himself. I've seen a few people say this, that Tony didn't look himself. Did you get that from the fight?
I don't know. I think Justin kind of made him not look himself. I seen Chael Sonnen saying that Tony should definitely consider retirement, which I thought was interesting. I mean, Tony's video in the hospital was very good. It was very Tony Ferguson, but it was a good way of just kind of putting it out there that, doing okay, guys.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. Yeah, I think Justin kind of just made him not look himself as much as anything.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on
it. Yeah, I think we kind of discussed that last week. I think Justin put on a great performance. I think that's all it was. By the end, Tony didn't look himself. Tony looked like, and we kind of spoke about this, Sean, he looked like his opponents after all his fights. Just completely bloodied up.
He Tony Ferguson, so
he did. But in terms of, like, is it the beginning of the end for Tony Ferguson? It could be. Like, I mean, careers in MMA, they fall very quickly. Like, they're usually on like some kind of upward trajectory, and then something happens, and then suddenly they fall. Like, look at Chuck Liddell, look at Anderson Silva. Like, Anderson Silva was on an incredible run, had them couple of losses against Chris Weidman, and he never looked the same again. So something like this could really kind of spark the beginning of the end for Tony. I think we have to see his next fight to really make a judgment on that, but maybe.
I'd like to see him take like 6 to 8 months off, like a nice chunk of time off to just recover properly, get a proper training camp in, a nice training camp in, like 8 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever he normally does, rather than the one he's been going since November, I think, pretty much, he said. So
yeah. Linus, what weight class would you two fight at? I was a middleweight before Corona. I'm at light heavyweight now, preparing for John Jones in a ring full of fast food rappers. Sean, what weight class would you be at?
I was at strawweight before coronavirus, so
yeah,
I bumped up on the flyweight, I'd say so.
I've gone the opposite direction.
Have you?
Complete opposite direction. I've lost about 5 pounds since this
Nice.
whole thing started. But my metabolism is like just like really fast, and this is gonna catch
Yeah.
up to me as I get older. Like I'm getting old now, 28. But because I'm not lifting weights, and because I'm not as hungry as I normally am, I can't shovel as much food into my face.
You're not burning the calories.
I'm just not burning the calories, so I'm actually losing weight. So I definitely make lightweight
Yeah,
easily.
see, my issue was I work in Dublin, but I live down the country. So
Mm.
when I'm in Dublin, I eat a bit less. I just buy less food for the house. But when I'm at home, home comforts there's always full presses, so there's a lot more food for me to eat. A lot
Yeah.
more shite as well, like snacks and crisps and biscuits and stuff. So
See, I don't like sweets that much, you know.
I have a wicked sweet tooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, very bad. I have a little tuck shop here behind me. If anyone wants to look.
Oh, look at this.
Some
Look at this.
squashies, some
Jellies now.
crisps and stuff. So that's my little tuck shop there for when I'm at work.
Thomas Broom Jones. I feel like we're all missing the most obvious fight lineup, which is Justin versus Habib, Poirier versus Ferguson, and Conor versus Masvidal. That Masvidal one has fallen away, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Huh.
it kind of has. It's kind of died a death. I mean, it's a terrible matchup for Conor.
Mm.
I don't think the UFC have much interest in doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really weird one.
Conor called for it, really. Was that about it, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Jorge called for it pretty much.
Yeah.
He kind of said he wasn't calling
Jorge
for it,
loved
and
that
then he dressed up like him, like him after a while. So, yeah, that I like that lineup works as well. As we said, lightweight has many combinations which are all brilliant.
Yeah.
Who does Dan Hooker fight next? Man, Dan Hooker, what a fighter!
Dan Hooker called out Dustin, actually. That feels like an age ago. That we said at the time, actually, that'd be a phenomenal fight. Dan Hooker and Dustin Poirier. I'd love that one.
I'd love that too.
We forgot about Dan Hooker and all this.
Yeah, to be fair, he's coming off that really crazy fight against Paul Felder where he won just about.
Yeah.
Just about.
I mean, if he was fighting anywhere up at home, I don't think he would. I don't mind him getting the decision, but you have to feel at that one that if he wasn't fighting where he was fighting, he wouldn't have got the decision.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it too. It was again, I don't really like saying people didn't win when they put in such an amazing performance when it's close. It's like, Jesus, man. Like, I wouldn't want to score that fight if I was there live.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, who could he fight that makes kind of sense. Like, he's right there underneath all those contenders. Like, I mean, Tony Ferguson
makes a lot of sense.
It does. But I like the Tony Ferguson against Dan Hooker is a lot of fun.
See, I think Tony's probably going to get that 6 months suspension, so he's probably going to take some more time out, so the timelines don't really match up, I think.
Yeah. Charles Oliveira as well is kind of flying around there. I don't think Dan Hooker would want that because there's a couple of
he's looking
places
up,
down. He's looking up, yeah. And rightfully so. Like, that's what's kind of hard because like there's loads of good fights, but a lot of guys just want to fight somebody above them. That's kind of hard to do, you know.
John C says Ariel's interview with Francis Ngannou made me curious. Has Ngannou's English finally surpassed Brendan Schaub's? The answer to that would be yes.
It sure has.
Schaub is an idiot.
Sure has. Do you want to go on another rant there, Sean? Or
no, I'm okay today.
Okay. James Mausley, this is from the community tab. What are your thoughts on Cruz's allegations against no-nonsense Keith Peterson? It's a really weird one, isn't it? Because, like, did he smell of alcohol? Who knows? Maybe he did. But I just think that Dominic is coming off a bit bitter right now. He just seems a bit bitter. Should it be looked into? Yeah, why not? The cigarettes one is stupid though, because like if he smells like cigarettes, who gives a fuck?
Smoking fags.
But yeah, he just.
I just realised the Americans aren't going to understand what I mean when I say smoking fags.
Yeah, cigarettes. But yeah, I think Dominic is just coming off a bit bitter, unfortunately, which is not good to see.
Yeah, I said on Sunday on our chat that it is potentially. I mean, they were they were sanitizing the cage. It could well be that the smell of alcohol from the sanitizer. I mean, I don't know. It could be. But then I did hear Sean El Shadi raised a good point. Actually, he said it isn't really in Dom's character to do this. I mean, when he lost to Cody Garbrandt, he was pretty gracious in defeat, as gracious as you can be in defeat.
Yeah.
After that one, so to say something like this is pretty unlike him. I mean, it's fine to criticize the stoppage. I mean, I'm okay with that, but it's the going after Keith Peterson like this is a bit weird. Yeah, it does come off to me as a bit so losers and bitter, but yeah.
Even his interview with Ariel, I thought was a bit strange. How he was just lingering on that whole "he wouldn't look at me in the eyes" thing. You know, when you were talking backstage. I don't know. It just came off really bad. But that's a good point. Dominic Cruz generally is fairly okay in loss. Like he's very competitive, like as most champions are. But he's generally okay. So yeah, yeah. There's more people than likes in the chat. So I think people should like this video. It would really help us out. And we're going to go to the community tab and get some more questions if you want to find one or two in the chat there, Sean.
Thomas Broom Jones says Sean got to make his cut to bubble weight. Get me a fine female to cut the bubble weight with me as well, and I'll do it. Me and Michelle Horse, I'm going to cut the atom weight. Nice.
That's where she should be fighting, to be fair. USADA recently slapped Kelvin Gastelum with a 9-month suspension for marijuana. They're becoming a joke. Yeah, it's bizarre. Like when I saw this, I forgot that USADA still ban fighters or still sanction them. I know what they reduced the suspensions or something like that, or maybe they reduced. It's something to do with the metabolites. So you could have a certain amount of metabolites in your system before a fight, and then they kind of made that bigger. Because they were catching people with like negligent amounts of weed in their system. But yeah, it's still a joke. Like, it's not performance enhancing.
It's a performance enhancer, if anything, man.
Oh, stop it, please. It's ridiculous.
Like, are you telling me weed in your system is going to do you any favours on fight night? Or does it make you hungry in between rounds?
Scroll here.
And how this is only coming out now as well. I mean, that fight with Till was last November or something.
Yeah. What is the easiest job in MMA, and why has it been Francis Ngannou's cut man? Good point. Speaking of cut men, like, do you know who never got cut? Anderson Silva. That dawned on me the other day. But there is some fighters who just never get cut, despite like taking damage, just never get cut. But yeah. That could be the easiest fight easiest job in MMA. Yeah, that's true. Thomas Broom Jones. Dominic Cruz should have slapped that Kimura lock on Henry. Can't slam him from that position. Yeah, I mean, hindsight is 2020. I'm not sure exactly what moment we're talking about, but yeah.
Linus has tried to describe me here in the chat. Sean reminds me of a baby type in Train Spotting. No holds barred. He'll grab the first Guinness bottle he sees and whack you on the head, then drink what's left. A Bagby type. Replace Guinness with cider and you pretty much have it.
Yeah. Joey Cruz, what do you guys think about the featherweight division right now? It's the most exciting division right now, IMO. Holloway, Zabit, Cater, Yair, Burgos, Sadiq, Yusuf, Hakim, Ryan Hall and Mitchell. Yeah, flyweight is absolutely banging. Other people that weren't flyweights are featherweight. Sorry, let me try to get the old rankings up because
Ryan Ortega's still there. Ian Zombie.
Yes. And you have little kind of dark horses there like Josh Emmett, who's always fun. You have the legends there like Frankie Edgar, although you know it's a little bit long in the tooth, but yeah, I love that. Even Arnold Allen doesn't get mentioned a lot, but Aaron Allen is a good fighter. I like him.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun fights there. Calvin Qatar obviously coming look great at the weekend, so that's gonna be some fun fights there for him.
Yeah. Scroll up here.
Suspending a Mexican for smoking weed is like going to a Metallica gig and telling them to turn the volume down.
Yeah.
Thomas Broom Jones.
Nathan Murphy in the community tab. Did you see Habib's response to McGregor's hug legs tweet about Habib's style? Considering his Ramadan is most likely Ali. How many of his fighters' Twitter accounts does he run? Probably has 4 or 5 computers with an 18 monitor setup. Yeah, Ali would be all over their Twitter account. So
Yeah.
I did see their response. Most likely not Habib, but like I didn't not I didn't disagree. I didn't like take too much offense to Conor's tweets, but his like he keeps going back to this thing about Habib just hugging people's legs, and it's a very bad look because that guy smashed you and tapped you out.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't say that. It's like,
I mean,
when you had a fight as a kid and you get digged around and then you're like talking shit after it. Like,
yeah. Do you know what's funny as well? It kind of reminds me of this Jordan documentary, which we're all loving at the minute. It's so funny how people kind of. I know he used to make a lot of stuff up in his mind to get himself motivated, but people used to go out of their way if they had a good game against him to call him out, and it's like, are you purposely trying to piss him off? Because he will fuck you up in the next game that he sees you.
Yeah, Jordan, he's such a badass, isn't he?
And like, do you want to piss Khabib off more? I don't.
Yeah. Although I don't think Conor gives a fuck. I think that's exactly what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
Getting one here. Alex Pearson, I don't know if you guys answered this, but seeing how Gaethje performed against Tony, how do you think he would have fared against McGregor? Yeah, we kind of spoke about that earlier. I think it's a competitive fight.
Yeah, very much so. I wonder if there's any odds up on that one.
Yeah.
Have a look.
Alistair Rowe, have you guys looked ahead to the Lionheart fight tomorrow? No, not yet. Gonna talk about it. I like the fight. I think it's a really good one. It's a good
Which
fight for
fight is this, sorry?
Smith against Glover.
Oh, Glover. Okay.
It's kind of it's like the most under the radar yet extremely consequential fight in a long time, because realistically this could give you your new or your next light heavyweight contender, especially, well, I think only if it's going to be Anthony Smith, because in MMA, like, it's one of them sports where people have such a short memory that if Anthony Smith goes out there and wins, we're going to completely forget about Dominic Reyes. The masses will completely forget about Dominic Reyes, even though he arguably beat John Jones. And the fact that Jones and Smith have been going back and forth, and the fact that it's been fairly controversial as well, I think the UFC will like that, and they'll like to promote that kind of thing. So I think if Anthony Smith wins tomorrow,
Anthony
especially if
Smith
he looks
said Dominic
good,
Reyes should get the next fight.
I know, yeah, but I think it's going to be Smith. If Smith goes out there and wins, and he wins impressively, I think no doubt Anthony Smith is getting the next title fight. Yeah, I don't think there's any chance that Reyes gets it.
Yeah, I think it's a very typical fight night main event. It's a good fight. I don't think Glover winning doesn't really do anything for the division. I don't really have any interest in seeing Anthony Smith and John Jones again.
The first one wasn't that competitive. He just kind of survived, didn't he? Do you know what it reminded me of a little bit? It reminded me of the Aloy Quinta Habib Nurmagomedov fight a little bit, where like Al survived for like the entire fight but didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah,
it was kind of similar.
Took it on a day's notice.
Yeah, that's true. That's very different. But yeah, it kind of reminded me of that. I've no huge interest in it, but it's fine. Thomas Broom Jones said I was referencing the Rose and Andrade when Dom kept insisting that Jess couldn't slam Rose from the Kimura before she turned her head. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, that was true. Conor is on or off the wagon again. Yeah, one of them.
You said it, not me.
Is this the MMA movement Conor McGregor edition or what? To be fair,
Gets clicks.
He's to be fair, he's in the news, and like when he says something, and especially when it's regarding a fight, I think you gotta talk about it. And if everybody asks questions about it, we're gonna answer.
Someone suggested there Smith v Thiago Santos.
Yeah, I think it's a good fight, but there's no contenders for John Jones. I just think he needs like if Smith wins, he's got to be a contender.
Yeah, 205's not that interesting.
But yeah, that's a good point though. John C is 205 more interesting without Jones. Like, I think in a sense it is. Like, when you have really dominant champions and the competition is ostensibly really far behind. Now, I don't know if that's actually true because Jones has been kind of pushed by these guys who seem like they should be overmatched, but they haven't been. But still, like, it kind of just, it puts too much of a gap between the champion and the contender, and then the contender fights almost get a little bit uninteresting. But if you have like a division that maybe isn't headed by somebody who is that good, but it's still competitive all around, I think it does get a little bit more interesting. So yeah, like I think like if you look back at say flyweight when Demetrius was champion and he was just so dominant and it was like nobody's ever gonna beat him, it did get a little bit stale. But I thought when Henry Cejudo won the title before like all the kind of the shit happened, I think a lot of people were very excited about flyweight because they were like, man, there's a lot of matchups now that we could make. What's gonna happen?
Yeah, I think we just see a lot more. You could potentially see a bit of a merry-go-round with the belt if Jones moves up. But I don't know if that would be bad for the division or not. But yeah, there's some fun matchups there, more competitive title fights, I think.
Yeah. Jesse Mago said, I think DC has just talked himself into a fight with Francis on account of what he's saying on the Ariel show. He reckons Francis is a bigger version of Anthony Johnson and he would deal with him in the same way as he dealt with AJ. What do you reckon? I think Francis chins him. Yeah, like I think we're getting probably a little bit closer to that fight. I think it'd be quite unfair though if the UFC strips Stipe because it seems like one of the stipulations that Daniel Cormier has is that the UFC have to strip him so that Daniel can fight for the main title. And I understand where Cormier is coming from. He wants that last fight to be for a title. Fair enough, but I think that'd be a bad look. But I still do feel like we're kind of moving a little bit towards that. Although it seems like Stipe came out very recently, I think it was either today or yesterday, and said, I want this fight and we're trying to look for places to train. So it depends. It kind of it's kind of like a logjam in that division. There's two people who realistically could be getting a title fight. I think Cormier just gets it because it's his last fight, but it could easily be Francis. Yeah. In terms of the comparison between Anthony Johnson, I think it's fair enough. You know, I think Johnson's probably even a more technical striker than Ngannou, but I think it's fair enough. Like once it hits the floor and once they get tired, they become very vulnerable on the floor, both Johnson and Ngannou. So I can see where his DC is saying that.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, DC and Francis was just a fight that I never considered. Like I know they're both at heavyweight and stuff. It was just a fight that I never considered.
I know. Yeah. They seem like they should be in different weight classes.
Yeah, and if DC is fighting anyone at heavyweight, we assumed it was always going to be Stipe or John at heavyweight. They were the two fights that really stood out from a heavyweight. And then especially with the trilogy and stuff and how he'd spoken up of, one more fight, it always just made sense that it was Stipe. Yeah, I think it'd be unbelievably harsh to strip Stipe. Yeah.
There was a question a little bit back. I missed who asked it, but they asked about UFC 250. Do we think that there's going to be another title fight added to that? And
I don't know what's on it. I mean, it's not.
I hope so. It's not very good. It's headed by Amanda Nunes against Felicia Spencer. At featherweight, not great. Rafael Assunção against Cody Garbrandt. Fun enough fight, but not great. Formiga against Alex Perez. Devin Clark against Alonzo Menifee. And Ian Heinisch, Gerald Merskart. So
there's 6 fights on that card, isn't it? That is not great, man.
I assume we're gonna get some additional fights. Well, we're gonna get additional fights on it, but you'd have to assume we're gonna get some kind of other big, at least co-main event for that because, that is not great. That is not great.
Will not be staying up for that one.
Yeah, yeah. There's talk about Jimmy Crute being a good prospect. Yeah, he looks like a good fighter. He lost to Misha Serkinov. But Misha can do that kind of thing. Like Misha can catch submissions out of nowhere in the first round. He has that ability, and then sometimes he just looks terrible. But yeah, I think Jimmy Crute is a decent prospect for Australia for sure. Which fight gets more pay-per-view buys, Stipe versus DC or Francis versus DC? Ooh, good question.
Stipe versus DC.
Yeah, look,
the storyline is just there, and I mean, what did the first one do?
I don't think they done.
It didn't do massive, but I think it was more.
Yeah, I know they didn't do huge numbers for it, like, as in they didn't do super fight numbers as they were expecting. But yeah, I'd argue that probably the Stipe fight, probably. You seen the numbers though for the last card 249, Sean?
700k apparently.
Very,
That's
very
very good.
impressive. Yeah, very impressive. I was actually surprised by that. Like I thought it would have been more in the 500 mark. So the fact that he done like 700,000 buys with the ESPN stuff, you know, not technically a paywall because you're going to be charged the same thing, but it's a barrier to entry, and then a global pandemic.
Yeah,
Not a lot of disposable income.
It was definitely boosted by being the only live sport on in the last 7 weeks.
Yeah, people didn't have to make a decision. Like,
yeah,
you know, it was like, do you want to watch some sports or not? Because this is all you have.
I mean, if that's the headline fight, that's a poor headline fight for UFC 250. There'd want to be a cracking couple of fights put under that very soon, because that fight does very low numbers.
Yeah. Speaking of pay-per-view numbers, Thomas Broom Jones, man, given how cagey ESPN are with putting out pay-per-view numbers, Nunes versus Spencer could hit 50k and they'd tell us it sold 2 million. Yeah. Jesus Christ. That won't do huge numbers, I'll tell you that.
Because it's so flaky. You can't really compare the numbers on the new system to the old system, because it's not just a clear cut of, okay, 500k bought the pay-per-view with this new system. So
yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah. Another great comment from Dream Team MMA. I think UFC can't let Jones fight anytime soon because they can't test him for COVID-19. They know Jones will always test positive. It doesn't matter which test.
He ain't feeling
Bravo,
no
sir.
test.
Bravo. That's wonderful. Andrew Hibbs, it's just dick pills. Very good. If you can like this video, that'd be great. We're going for another half an hour. Ask us your best questions, because if this chat isn't good, I'm blaming you. Not you, Sean. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, Rob.
There's just some John Jones jokes going on in the comments there. If you're not looking at the comments, have a read while I'm looking for another question here in the community tab, because they're quite good.
Aidan O'Brien says that Francis looks like he's not very good at MMA. He just goes in there swinging and devastating when he connects. He would be freaked out by DC and the prospect that it could go deep. See, this is the thing. Like, he isn't very good. Technically. Like, he's not.
Oh, well, yeah. Like, I mean, I don't think there's any argument that at least what he has shown us in that last fight, he didn't do very good things. Like, it was brilliant that he knocked the guy out in like 20 seconds or what was it? 15 seconds? I can't remember.
18 something.
18 seconds. But like, he was all over the place.
Yeah.
But it works. Yeah. It works, and it has worked again and again and again and again and again. It's just like, how do you stop it? DC thinks he can stop it. Can he? Stipe stopped it at some point. So I see where people are coming for with that. He's not technical.
Yeah, and I can totally see if I was DC, I'm like, I can get a lot of credit with that win.
Yeah.
So, because he's not very good at MMA. Who the fuck am I to say that? Because he'd knock me into Timbuktu if he hit me. So,
yeah. Thomas Broom Jones. The only thing worth mentioning about Nunes versus Spencer is it'll be the last time someone holds the old UFC title design. That's true actually. That was a nice title. I enjoyed that title. Do you guys have it? This is James Mosley. Do you guys have any hobbies outside of your interest for MMA, pottery, cooking, train spotting, etc.?
Touching myself.
Jesus, Sean.
Tyson Fury.
Yeah. What's your hobby, Sean? Outside of MMA.
What are my hobbies? I like reading, long walks on the beach, and no, I do. I read a lot of sports books, some different stuff. I got a new one delivered today, actually, the legacy book about the All Blacks. Got that delivered today, so I'll be reading it soon. I watch a lot of shit on YouTube, rabbit hole stuff. I'll be in some cesspit on YouTube on a Saturday night. Watching The Office, the US Office on Netflix at the minute, or on Amazon Prime, sorry, at the minute. What else do I do? I just watch sport a lot of the time, really, to be honest.
Yeah. My day is usually like MMA, work, gym, cinema, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, much. I don't do a whole pile. I just watch a lot of sports. So this has been fucking a shitty enough period for me. If there's football on summer, I'm usually watching it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like other like hobbies. Like I write, but I guess you'd say that's a hobby.
Yeah, I have a season ticket at my local football team here on
football
Ireland,
team.
so
Yeah.
Dundalk. So go to a lot of them. I used to go to a lot of them matches before they were fucking cancelled.
Yeah.
Football hooligan.
Let me see here. I have some more questions in the community tab. You can pull one out of the old
Thomas
chat
Broom
there.
Jones is recommending me the Mike Tyson and Sugar Ray Leonard autobiographies. I actually haven't read them, but someone actually only today recommended the Mike Tyson one to me. So I'm
Which
gonna have a
one?
look at
Which
them.
Mike Tyson one? He has
I
a
don't
few,
know.
does he? I have one here. I've only read like half of this.
Oh, Rob.
I got it. No, I got it going on holidays, right? So I'm like here. It's this one. You see it?
Yeah.
It's a bit weird now.
That's a big book as well.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a bit weird because like it's him, and I call him Sal D'Amato. I called him the judge last time. D'Amato. It's mostly about him. Like it's Tyson writing about like his relationship.
Yeah.
And he was really weird in the, like I'm talking about Cuss. It was really weird. Like he believed like a lot of things. Kind of like you were telling me about the Bulls coach. What's his name? Bulls
Phil
coach.
Jackson.
Yeah, you were saying that he's kind of into some like spiritual, like mad stuff.
Yeah, all like just meditation and really reading up into that. He was raised in a pretty strict Catholic household, so he didn't rebel against it as such, but he just kind of wanted to find his own way with spirituality and stuff. Like, so he's an interesting guy.
Yeah, but it's similar. Like he believed kind of like stuff like that, kind of weird stuff. So it was a bit of a weird read. It wasn't necessarily about Mike Tyson's career. It was more so like, this is what I learned from the coach.
Which one is? Let us know, Thomas. There, which one you're talking about? I'll have a look at Sugar Ray's as well.
Yeah.
Andrew Hibbs says we should get ourselves motorbikes. I would. I'd love a motorbike. I watched Sons of Anarchy actually, and I wanted a Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
Which is typical, like. But
Dream Team MMA made a good point about Francis Ngannou, and it's the ultimate point. With that kind of power, you don't have to be good. You just have 15 or 25 minutes to land just one good shot.
He has the ultimate equalizer, so he can be as untechnical and as horrible to watch from a technical standpoint as he wants. He will kill you if he hits you, and that's all that matters.
That's the thing. Like, he's proven to be effective. He's done it. We've seen it. He's been very effective, but he still has a lot of holes in his game. We think, because we haven't seen them being fixed. Alistair Rowe, any other MMA podcasts you guys can recommend? Sean, what MMA podcast do you listen to?
Chuck Mindenhall on The Man on the Myth is very good. I don't always get to listen to it. Always busy sometimes and stuff, but that one is very good. Chuck and Sean are brilliant together. Anything by Luke Thomas is excellent. I absolutely love him. Chael's one is quite good sometimes. Mike Bisping I listen to sometimes as well. Eurobash is really good at PT Carroll. I love listening to PT. He's mental.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a view.
Yeah. I used to really like the Co-Main Event podcast. That was very good. I like Jack Slack's podcast the odd time, not all the time. Like, I think he does great work, but I don't listen to it all the time. I think Morning Combat is probably my favorite MMA podcast right now. I think Brian Campbell is a funny guy. I'd like to get Brian Campbell on here at some point. So go tweet him.
That's very good.
Yeah, go tweet him and tag us in it. But
anything that doesn't have Brendan Schaub in it is very good.
Yeah. Those are the ones I kind of listen to. Someone said Weasel MMA. I don't really listen to Weasel. There's a lot of MMA podcasts out there. A lot of them.
Aiden is asking, Rob, do you actually have any booze in those bottles? They look empty. Sean, have you read The Grass Arena? I recommend this book to both of you.
This one. Can you see that?
Not.
Don't know if you can see that.
The Grass Arena.
There's a little bit left in that. There's a little bit left in that. And that's actually full. I got that as a gift very recently off a friend. Actually, speaking of a friend, Aiden will know this person, I think. Carl Doran used to host a show a while ago. He gave me that. And then my girlfriend knows the owner of this whiskey company, and I got this. It's actually very, very nice.
Rob's quite a classy alcohol guy. I'm just a knacker who'll drink. I'll drink a wet
Anything.
sock. Yeah.
So I don't. I used to. I say I used to drink a lot. I used to drink more than I do now, but now when I drink, it's more so like I'll drink for the enjoyment of the taste of it rather than to get absolutely pished. You know what I mean?
That's the difference between us. I seen someone there who was recommended Josh Daniels or Josh Thompson's podcast. I've actually heard that's supposed to be quite good.
It is, yeah, with Big John. That actually is quite good, yeah. Jack Slack gets annoying. BC is hilarious. Brian Campbell is hilarious.
Thomas Broom Jones is recommending some good documentaries there. The Last Dance is probably the best one I've ever seen now, to be honest, and it's not even finished yet. He says Senna, that's about Marcus Senna, I think, the F1 driver. That's very good as well. I've seen that. When We Were Kings and Hoop Dreams. So, yeah, I'll have a look at them.
I feel like I've seen When We Were Kings.
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've seen it.
I feel like I've seen it.
Drive to Survive is very good. I think I've recommended this.
Oh shit, before. Yeah, but I have to watch that. Yeah.
There's for any football fans out there as well. There's a documentary on Diego Maradona that is absolutely phenomenal. It's up there in top 5 for me in what I've seen. And then Icarus on Netflix as well is brilliant.
Yeah. Before we do this, quick fire questions. We have FIFA King UFC quick fire questions. Make sure you do like this video. I know I keep asking.
Ayrton Senna, sorry,
but it's okay. I said Sal D'Amato for cuss last week, so it's all the one. Yeah, it actually really helps if you like the video because YouTube has to recommend this to people, and they don't like recommending a lot of things to people. So it does really help. So I want to do some quick fire questions. Let's do this, Sean. You ready?
Yes.
I'm just gonna say, just give me your answer, and then I'll give you mine. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Pepsi. Tato or King?
Really, Pepsi?
Yeah, like I like Pepsi Max because I drink like over Coke Zero. Jesus, it's supposed to be quick fire. Will you hurry the fuck up?
Sorry, go on.
Tato or King?
King.
King. Android versus iPhone?
Android.
Pubs versus clubs?
Pubs.
Cork versus Waterford?
Cork.
Yeah,
Cork accent bell.
Yeah, I'll say Cork. McDonald's, Burger King?
McDonald's.
Burger King. Simpsons, Family Guy, Futurama. It's a triple threat.
Family Guy.
I'm going to say Family Guy as well. They had more seasons that were good.
Yeah.
Connor... Actually, no. Simpsons. Going to go back. They had just world-class episodes. Connor versus Tony.
I haven't seen Connor now, I think, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Recency bias, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Tony. I'll remove me recency bias. Gaethje versus Habib.
Oh, Justin.
Yeah, I'll go Justin as well. Dang.
Did someone send them in?
Huh?
Did someone send in them questions?
Yeah, they were on the community tab.
They were fun.
Yeah. Any more quick fire questions? We'll go through them because they're efficient, is what we'll say. Salva
Cider or beer, Rob?
Cider or beer? Oh, beer. Jesus. What, cider or beer, Sean?
I'm allergic to beer, so it's for me.
Out of necessity. Salva Stola, can you name any other fighter who has improved his game so much in such a short time as, I guess, Justin Gaethje is saying? Who had a really... do you know, like, I keep bringing up GSP, but like I know he was always great, but like if you look at like him from fight to fight, he made complete strides in everything, especially when he lost to Matt Serra, and then he just like his wrestling game changed completely and he started out wrestling everybody like John Fitch and stuff like that. I'll say GSP. It's kind of an easy answer, but can you think of anyone? Even in boxing, John, if you can think of someone.
I'll give you Max Holloway.
Yeah.
From when he first came into the UFC, I think.
Yeah. You can go with Dustin Poirier as well. Yeah. Although he kind of, I don't think it was a short time. It was more so like
Max not necessarily gradual. As well, but just from his first couple of performances in the UFC to where he ended up, I think is a phenomenal improvement. So. Yeah.
Did you get the Mike Tyson documentary by Thomas Broom Jones? It's Mike Tyson, The Undisputed Truth.
Cool. I'll have a look at that. I actually have Amazon open and I'm adding these to my thing now, just so I don't forget.
Yeah. John C., what do you think of Tough with Till and Izzy as coaches? I like it. As I said a lot on the show, or as I used to say on the show a lot, I've never been into Tough that much. Like I liked the early seasons.
It's hard for us to watch over here is the thing.
It is, yeah. You kind of have to watch afterwards. But like, if we can get Tough during this lockdown, I will watch it. UFC. I will watch it. And I like those coaches. That'd be fun. Darren Till has been on fire on Instagram and Twitter and all that. Yeah. So I think that'd be quite funny. And Izzy is a character as well. So
yeah, that'd be a great build up for that one.
Yeah. Bisbing's got jokes. I guess that was Linus talking about Bisbing's podcast. I guess
Bisbing's good crack. Yeah, I quite like him as an analyst, and just on Twitter and stuff. He puts out random stuff on Twitter now and again. He's just like, "What's everyone having for breakfast?"
Yeah. Zneb Rams, you guys should follow Mexican Martial Arts. He's the funniest MMA content. Is that a YouTube channel? Is that a Twitter account? Let me know. Campbell is great. Just please don't bring Luke Thomas. I like Luke. He can be a bit of a stick in the mud, as they say. But we've actually had Luke on once before, a long time ago. Were you on the show, Sean?
No,
you weren't.
Yeah, I love Luke, but I know exactly what you mean when you say that.
Yeah.
I think he likes to sometimes take the awkward opinion or to say something is not right.
Yeah.
That everyone else agrees with.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean with that as well. But yeah, I love him. I think he's brilliant at just constructing and deconstructing an argument.
Yeah.
I've seen someone say there that
Sean would
Pablo,
like UFC gambling addicts.
Yeah, I actually seen that and I've looked that up, so I'm gonna have them look at them. Someone said that Ngannou should move to boxing. No, he should not.
No, definitely not.
I can name you 5 fighters off the top of my head now that would fuck Ngannou up in boxing. That's where his how untechnical he is will be a big issue for him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like imagine again, Francis Ngannou is fucking amazing. He's brilliant. I love watching him fight. He's so dangerous. He's scary. But like if he walked into a boxing gym and he start running across the ring, with his chin wide up in the air or up in the air and like his hands flailing around, you know, it's not going to be good.
It's not to say,
but it's effective.
Yeah, it's not to say he could easily catch someone again.
Yeah,
but
he will, because he's scary as fuck and he hits like a fucking
freight train.
Yeah, thanks. Zneb M said the Josh Thompson and McCarthy is horrendous because they're so biased for Bellator. Yeah, they do work for Bellator, so I guess. Linus, Rob has fancy glasses in his cabinet. Sean has shoes to drink out of.
Yeah, we're different people, man.
We're different. Yeah, we're different in that sense. Look at him drinking out of a bottle like a savage.
That's straight vodka,
man. Danny, I must say kudos to you guys for bringing us into the chat. But I feel like I'm being ignored. Well, you're not ignored there. Sorry. This is what this is about. This is all about the chat. We're bringing you into the discussion. That was Danny Norw. I don't know if that's supposed to be pronounced like Norrow. I don't know. There's some vulgar question. Sean, chicks versus dicks.
Chicks.
Surprised by that one.
Thanks, Rob. Dick.
Yeah, Luke gets so much shit, but not too bad. Yeah.
Seen someone suggest there that I need better lighting, and yes, I do. This is the issue with being at home in Cavan in the country. Don't have the comforts that I do in Dublin, so I will try and sort out some better lighting.
This is a great comment by Thomas Brown Jones. Masvidal is the reverse Arlovsky. Grew out his hair and started sleeping motherfuckers. Exactly. He's the reverse Samson. Like, watch Andrei Arlovsky when he had his beautiful flowing locks with the highlights. That is next level Arlovsky. Yeah. Chris No Pants Laymans.
The lighting.
That's a great. No. Is this live? It is live. Ask us a question.
Danny says his name is Norwegian, or Nor as in Norwegian.
Ah, nice.
It's an Hebron. Luke Thomas gets carried away with his vocabulary.
He does seem like
he like to use a big word, man.
He does, yeah. Like half the time I'm watching Luke and I'm like, pause, dictionary, check out what that word was. Oh yeah, that made sense.
He does like to do that.
Yeah. I like it though. You know, It's an escape from the just bleed MMA analysis that we often bring. Do you know what I mean, Sean?
Yeah, from the simplicity that me and you always bring.
Pavlo 005. I think this is in reference to Ngannou. Of course, not putting him against the top immediately. Give him 5 to 7 easy fights. Like, I mean, Francis Ngannou in boxing would be fun as hell. Like, if he started right at the bottom and fought, like, you know, the butchers and the postmen and all. Because, well, it wouldn't be that fun because he'd probably murder people, but, like...
Yeah, I could, as a promoter, I could get Francis to 15-0 as a heavyweight in boxing. Like, easy. Easy. Like, without thinking, I can get him to 15-0. And I'm not a promoter. I could get him to 15-0 without thinking. I get him a world title shot. Easy.
Yeah. Dream Team MMA. Great show again. Thanks, guys. Cheers, mate. It's a bit all over the place, but, like, what can you do? It's strange times. So it needs a strange show, which is what we're doing. Lunchbox, I'm too late again. Continue great work, guys. I have to go back to and watch from the start. We're still going. If you're still here, we'll be on for another few minutes, I think.
Hang around, man.
Someone, Lunchbox, with a super chat or a super gif. Thanks very much. That actually really helps us out. We can pay Sean to get over to Fight Island now. But you should have asked a question with that.
Did he just donate £3? Nice one, man.
Yeah. We can get you to Fight Island now, Sean.
I know, yeah. Get me on the boat.
Yeah. Although, like, flights must be cheap right now, right?
I'm not flying, man. Have you seen the status on them flights? There's no social distancing on them. Put me in a cargo boat on my own. I get there in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I seen someone say that Francis makes more money in the UFC. I would strongly disagree with that. Francis would earn more money, I think, in one boxing fight than he has in comfortably in his last few fights in the UFC. Thomas Brim Jones pretty much said the same there as well.
Yeah. Linus said, be glad that you two are liked. Ever read Luke's comments on the Monday Morning Combat? He gets skewered. Yeah, I think it's unfair. Like, he does great work. But I will say, like, our audience is, like, nothing compared to, like, theirs. Yeah. But, like, we've been very lucky because I think we've attracted actually some really good people who watch our videos. And, like, some of the questions are very weird. I'm looking at you, Linus. I'm joking. But like, most people are generally very, very nice. And, like, even on the videos that we've done, like the video essays and stuff that I've done that somehow done really well, like, it's mostly very positive. And I think that's not normal in the MMA community. The MMA community can be absolutely savage. I remember,
like, there's some correlation there between the higher viewers and the more shit you get.
100%, yeah. But, like, somehow, even when we've got, like, really high views, like, I think some of them video essays got, like, a couple of 100,000 views, and even the like ratio has been really good, and the comments have been all really good, apart from a few, you know, assholes here and there. But, like, I think we got quite lucky on that. But I'm sure if our audience grows, our criticism will grow with it.
We'd love some more criticism.
Yeah. What's the story with Mike Tyson actually saying he's going to come back? Is this some kind of celebrity boxing match?
Evander Holyfield says he's coming back as well.
Oh, sweet. Holyfield.
Yeah.
Does he not have severe CTE?
Probably.
I'm pretty sure he does.
Mike Tyson doesn't.
Oh, he does, yeah, but, like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's not in official matches. They're talking charity exhibition bouts where they can just earn 10 million to show up and fight 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Like when Floyd fought that kickboxer for 10 million or something like that. He fought 9 million and some sick amount of money around.
Oh, fuck, man. Chris No Pants Laymans. I like that name. Alright, in that case, do you think Conor will try get into the mix after the Khabib fight or before? And do you think when Gaethje fights Khabib, he will utilise his wrestling? On part 1, I think Conor's trying to get the fight before Khabib fights Gaethje, if that ever happens. I think that's what he's trying to do. I think, like, honestly, I do think he sees that as a winnable fight for obvious reasons. Like, Conor, if you ever talk to anybody who's been around Conor, and I've talked to plenty of people who've been around Conor, he loves MMA. Like, he loves it.
He's a fan,
Yeah, and he's extremely competitive, and he's very analytical. So when he looks at Justin Gaethje, not in this fight, in the other fights, he probably sees and says, "Man, I could beat that guy. Like, he has so many openings, he gets hit so much." So he's looking at that, and then also, I think he looks at it and says, "That is a challenge. That is a good fight for me." I think people will look at that win, if I win or when I win, and give me a lot of credit for that. So I think he really wants that fight.
Yeah. I personally have said I fancied Justin in that fight, but I can totally see why Conor would look at that and think, that's a good matchup for me.
Yeah. He also said, "Do you think Gaethje will utilize his wrestling against Khabib?" I think only in a defensive way, not offensively.
Yeah, apparently Drew L said apparently Tyson got offered a huge payday. That's what I think as well. It's a charity exhibition bout where he can just earn a shit ton of money to do a couple of rounds. And man, he still looks scary as hell on the pads.
He does, doesn't he?
Hell,
he does.
do you remember him on Joe Rogan where he actually talked on Rogan where he said, "I can't hit pads anymore because then I get into that zone where I talk crazy."
I know.
And then we see him on the pads and you're like,
that's why I was so like, when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my God, Mike Tyson's gonna fucking go to prison again or something."
Yeah.
And he starts hitting these pads.
Criticism to a drinking podcast from Linus. I'd love that.
I know you would, Sean.
Yeah, this on YouTube.
Linus, my questions are inappropriate, not weird. Maybe both.
Is that a fair distinction?
Thomas Broom Jones, plot twist: Fight Island is in the same location as Love Island, and the fighters are paid to hunt the couples down. Now that is something I could get on board with.
Oh, hook that to me veins. I like Love Island, but that would be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Or Fight Island, well, they're not actually in a cage and they just go around, and it's like Yu-Gi-Oh, where you challenge someone to a fight on the island, and it's last man standing.
It's basically Mortal Kombat, no?
Yeah, so you do like a heavyweight Fight Island where you put every heavyweight in the rankings on the island, and they just walk around, and it's last man standing. If I see Daniel Cormier, I'm like, I challenge you to a fight. That's how it works.
Like Pokemon or something. Andrew Hibbs, only found you guys last week and I'm already diehard. Appreciate that. That's great.
Cheers, man.
Appreciate that. Rest in peace, Ben Askren. Fair enough. Dream Team MMA, if you are real and stand close to the public like you two, this is what happens, guys. Keep it real, Sean. Keep it real.
I seen someone ask as well, do we have any fight experience? I personally do not. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Like street fights as a kid.
I don't have either, man.
As a kid, I've had a few. I've got beat up a few times as well.
Yeah.
And I've won a couple, but a lot of black eyes.
Yeah,
not that many though.
There's a reason I sit here and talk about it. Like,
you just like watching violence.
Yeah, I absolutely love watching violence.
But that said, like I will avoid fights on the street
big time
as much as possible.
Actually, Chuck made a great point about the being able to hear all the breathing and the hit and every punch from Saturday night. And he said, because we kind of get desanitized to the violence, so something like that kind of freshened it up for us. So I thought that was good. Very cool.
Morning Combat also likes to cover mediocre boxing fights that nobody cares about. I like the coverage of all of it. Znebrem also said that the best part of Morning Combat is the dong jokes. Tip to tip, my friend. Tip to tip. I think Brian Campbell is very funny, man.
I haven't watched too much of it. I know you.
Honestly, he's and like anytime he brings, like, to be fair though, they stole our shit. They stole Sean's Weird News. Remember on the podcast? So, we used to do, if you're new here, we used to do a podcast. We still do it, but we can't do it right now because we're in quarantine. But we used to do a podcast called A Few Good Fights, and we were actually in studio together. And it doesn't really work over this format. That's why we're doing live chats for the time being. But Sean used to do Sean's Weird News, where he used to bring us like some crazy knockouts, some weird dinners, like from Will Flurry and stuff like that. Just weird stuff. And Morning Combat do that now. Carla, have you seen this shit? After we started it. I'm just saying. Yeah. But anyway, my point was,
know what we're talking about.
Yeah, my point is, anytime Brian Campbell brings a crazy knockout, his reactions to Luke's reactions is the funniest. Tyson versus Holyfield 3. Winner gets the ear. Oh, cracking me up, lads. Cracking me up. Sean the Bushman.
Dirty.
Trying to find an actual question here. Did you say, Linus, did you say a lot of black guys or black eyes? That accent. Eyes, my friend. Eyes. Sorry about the accent. I also have a bit of a cold, John. I hope I'm not getting, you know what.
Better not sneeze on that microphone, Rob, or I might get it.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Did you see some fucking idiots saying that you could get the coronavirus through like a television screen?
I love some people might not know Boris Johnson, the British Prime Minister, but his whole stay alert thing, as if, you know, when you go outside you should be like this, some green virus is just going to come out of a ditch. Actually, you see him coming, you just slip and roll it, like, you know.
Yeah.
Stay alert, folks.
Use the Philly shell against the coronavirus.
Yeah.
It works.
Use the shoulder roll.
60% of the time.
Shoulder roll.
Every time.
Thomas Broom Jones, they glue. I don't think that's the one that there's better words for Irish people to say. I'm not saying it though.
What word was it?
I'm not saying it.
I'll say it. What is it?
Episode what, Rob?
3?
Yeah. What episode was the worst one? Do you remember we were in the studio one day and it was episode, which one?
33.
Yeah.
It's very hard to say. It's very hard to say, mate. Some questions. Give me some questions there, yeah.
So nasty via Uriah Faber in a no-gi submission only match. Thoughts? That'd be fun.
Who was that? Say that again.
Danny Norway said Thug Nasty via Uriah Faber in a no-gi submission match.
Oh yeah.
Fun.
All for that.
Who's Masvidal sending to the Shadow Realm next?
I don't know. He seems to be in such a weird situation. Like,
yeah,
we got a question.
This situation hasn't been good for him.
No, like we got a question about him a while ago, and it was like, has his popularity diminished since the lockdown? I don't necessarily think that's the case, but maybe his momentum has, because he's not in the news anymore. It's kind of like Masvidal of old, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a shame because he was on such an upward trajectory, and now it's like, who does he fight next? And it seems like he's almost the odd man out in all the scenarios.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Chris says, so admittedly with no fight experience in the gym or otherwise, why should he listen to us for our opinions and analysis? I ain't forcing you to, man.
Who said that?
Chris.
I'm
here for the gambling reasons.
Well,
Rob's analysis is top notch. Rob's analysis. So, very good.
I'm
just a degenerate.
I done jiu-jitsu, like, does that count?
Yeah, you've rolled a bit, like, so.
Rolled quite a bit.
The only place I've rolled is out of a pub.
Roll a smoke.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's a bit, yeah, I don't know. That's about thing. Zneb Rem also said it about Brian Campbell. He's funny, but he's also like a random dude. His analysis isn't that great. Like, I think some guys do different things well. You know what I mean? Like Ariel Helwani doesn't analyze fights. Like, I wouldn't listen to him analyze a fight because I think his like conclusions are going to be that worthwhile. He's just
a really good journalist.
Yeah, he's a good reporter. Like, he has relationships with all these guys. So like, I listen to him when he talks about, I think this fight is going to be next because X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And I think Brian Campbell is more so in that sense. Plus, he talks about, you know, tip to tip and stuff like that, and he's funny. Whereas Luke Thomas, I think, has like some kind of extensive background in wrestling and a bit of striking and stuff like that, and he's smart in that kind of way. So each people have their own different lane, you know.
Linus says you should listen for their literary recommendations. This is more of a book club.
Sorry, I missed that. I was reading a question. What did he say?
He said you should listen for the literary recommendations. This is more of a book club.
Yeah. We should run a book club, Sean. Why not? um, any more questions here, lads? We'll go for a few more minutes, depending on how good the questions are. But before you go, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps.
Do you want to give some picks for the card at the weekend, Rob?
Yes, let's do. Actually, yeah, I completely neglected that card, but let's do it, Sean.
We'll not go too deep.
No, let's not go too deep. But how do you see the main event going? What's your pick? And also give us your picks in the comments, please.
Yeah, Anthony Smith all day and twice on Sundays, I think.
Yeah, Glover to Teixeira.
Anthony Smith if once he's not like the Anthony Smith to fought John Jones, I think he wins.
Yes, I think Anthony Smith as well. Can the whole home invasion thing cause issues in terms of like how is he mentally and all that stuff? Because he seemed to be a bit shook by it. Maybe. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be too much of an effect though.
I don't personally know. I think if fighting the camp would have been a nice escape for him if anything.
Yeah. The only thing is though, Glover reminds me a little bit of Olenek. Like he's the guy that just won't go away and he keeps getting wins over these young guys. Like look at his recent wins. Carl Robertson, Ian Kutalaba and Nikita Krylov. All fairly young prospects, I guess you could say. So I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm going to go Anthony Smith. OSP against Ben Rothwell. OSP's heavyweight debut, I think.
Yeah, tough one. OSP's a favourite. Ben Rothwell, OSP's 4-6, and Ben Rothwell is 6-5. Wouldn't have a massively strong opinion. I mean, yeah, I'll take OSP. The move up might suit him. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a pretty meh fight.
Yeah,
Ben Rothwell was quite lucky, if I remember rightly, in his last fight. Is that right? To get the decision.
Oh, he was very lucky, I thought.
Yeah. Who was that against? Stefan Struve? Was it that? No, we knocked out Stefan Struve in his last fight.
Maybe it wasn't his last fight. It was his return fight.
Ivanov, yes, that's the one.
Yeah, that one there. I thought Ivanov won that fight.
Yeah, he was very lucky to get that one. I remember that one.
Jeez, I'm going to go with...
What card was that? Luis dos Santos.
I think Ben Rothwell is quite good. Like, he's a decent heavyweight.
Yeah.
OSP, I think OSP's speed could give him problems there, but OSP has been finished a few times. I'm going to go with Rothwell just for the power.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be having a bet on OSP now, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, Trudeau, Alex Hernandez. I think that's a really good fight.
That is a really good fight.
That would probably be my fight, my pick for the night. That fight, I think that could be a fun one.
How do I see that going? I think, like he came like flying onto the scene. Alex Hernandez had that disappointing loss then, but then had a good win where he showed a lot of skills. But then Drew Dober, man, he's had some really, really, really impressive performances. And he's a really slick kickboxer. He has some grappling. And he's on a 2-fight win streak, and he has that amazing win over Nasrat Hakparast. Nailed it.
This is a tough one to pick.
A very, very tough one to pick. I'm gonna pick Drew Dober, but I'm not confident on it.
Okay. I'm gonna pick Alex Hernandez.
Nice.
Who's the odds are interesting on that? The odds are interesting on that one actually. Drew Dober's 5-6, and Alex Hernandez is 10. Excuse me, you just popped 10-11.
Yeah, it's interesting. Ricky Simone, Ray Borg.
Ricky Simone, Ray Borg. I was interested to see if Ray Borg would miss weight today.
He made it, did he?
But he made weight, so.
Yeah, it's 135 though, isn't it?
Yes. Oof. Ricky Simone is 8-15 and Ray Borg is 11-8.
Interesting.
So, yeah, probably pick Ricky Simone.
Yeah, I'll pick Ricky Simone, but he's on a 2-fight losing streak, so momentum isn't there. But before those 2 fights, and albeit they're against good guys, Uriah Faber and Rob Font, he was a bit of a prospect. Ray Borg has some problems sometimes, great scrambler, but I'll go with Ricky Simone, but just. Next up, Carl Robertson. We'll just do the main card. Carl Robertson and Marvin Vettori. Ooh, it's a fun fight. I'm going to go with Vettori for his volume. He's not like a really powerful striker, unlike Robertson, but he doesn't slow down. High volume. Had a great performance against Israel Adesanya, and Robertson sometimes can have trouble with that volume type guy, and a guy who can keep the pace up, so I'm going to go with him.
Yeah, I think that one's pretty that's one that sticks in the memory is Vettori's performance against Adesanya. I think I seen him call for that one again recently, well, not that long ago. But yeah, I'll take Vettori as well. He is 8-15. 1 second. I'll give you a bet now as well. Carl Robertson is 6-4, actually, just so you know. You can have Anthony Smith, Ben Rothwell, Ricky Simone, Alex Hernandez, Marvin Vittori at 15-1, which isn't actually not that great. It's grand.
Nice.
Probably won't stay up for this card, Rob, though. I might stay up for the one at the weekend.
Yeah. Someone asked, is the card tomorrow? It is tomorrow, yeah. Midweek card. Where would you get it? Thomas Broom Jones. Actually, no, sorry. I was going to ask your question, but I'm going to ask this one. It wasn't actually a question. He was talking about Bryce Mitchell. Calls himself Tug Nasty. Comes out of DMX. He's whiter than a laundry load. Very nice. Danny asked, prime Shane Carwin versus Rumble Johnson at heavyweight. Who takes it? Man, I'm going to say Rumble Johnson takes it. I think he's the better, he's the more complete fighter. He has a bit of everything. Obviously struggles on the ground, but I think he can survive long enough like he did against Cormier, because he survives okay against Cormier and then lands something late. But Shane Carwin, very good wrestling, but gets tired and could knock motherfuckers out very easily, so it's a tough one.
I'll take Rumble as well. I'd love to see Rumble at heavyweight. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Hafthor Bjornsson, who recently deadlifted the 501 kg and his boxing match with former world strongest man Eddie Hall? I think it's fun. It's stupid, but it's fun. Like, they're gonna punch each other for about 30 seconds and get tired.
They'll be blown out of their arse after 30 seconds. I don't think it happens. I mean, it's scheduled for September 2021. No venue announced. I've never heard of the promoters before. Pay-per-view. Whoa.
You're gonna buy it, Sean.
Hello, dodgy streaming. No, I bought my Now TV pass actually because I'm getting the Bundesliga with it this weekend, so that was good value. They have a deal on for it, €17 a month for 3 months, so I'll cancel it at the end of that, because otherwise it's like 40 quid a month or something. It's very expensive. I don't have much interest in that fight. Like,
I think it's a bit of crack. Like, it's a bit.
I could watch a similar fight outside a kebab shop in Dublin at 3:00 in the morning.
But like the size of these lads, and the chap he broke some world records. Come on,
cool.
I miss deadlifting. Do you think Cejudo will stay retired or pull a GSP and come back for one-off cash grabs? I don't necessarily think he'll come back for like one-off fights, but I don't
think he wants a better contract.
I think he just wants a better contract, and if he comes back, it's going to be for the long run, as long as that is.
I think he's playing a dangerous game. I don't think he's necessarily, wrongly, of course, because the fighter should get paid more, but I don't think he's worth as much as he probably thinks he is.
Yeah.
Because he's not a headline event. I think the UFC will quite comfortably call his bluff on this one.
Yeah.
They won't lose any sleep over, I don't think. I've seen just Linus say that I don't get the odds when you give them in centimeters. Are you an American or a Vegas odds man, Linus? I can give them in decimals or fractions if you want, but Vegas odds escape me. Because you just do it wrong in America. I'm not, like, the Vegas odds are so stupid.
It does make sense. When someone explained it to me, it does make sense.
Yeah, it makes sense when you explain it, but it's needlessly, like, it's just silly. Yeah. Fractions or decimals are the best in my opinion.
Yeah. We'll go for another like 5 minutes or so, because we're definitely going over than what I expected today. But it's a bit of crack, isn't it? Let me see here. Alex Hernandez will win. Fair enough. Does anyone else think Ray Borg looks odd? I don't know what you mean by that. God. We forget about Kutalaba. He is a freaking beast and deserves a rematch, and didn't lose due to a stupid stoppage. Yeah, remember that stoppage? That was crazy. Where he was like doing the stanky leg thing, and then it was stopped.
Oh yeah,
remember that? That was bizarre. But
that was wild.
Yeah, he actually is quite a good fighter. Hits hard, dynamic. Most you've lost on a fight betting. Have you lost much on a fight betting?
On a single bet, probably like 20 quid.
Yeah, I haven't lost that much
on a fight anyway. Yeah. I've lost. Yeah. I've had a bit more on a couple of horses, two horses, the same horse twice, but I'm not getting into that.
Or is it still? It's still hurt.
No, because it was the same horse twice, and it lost one day at evens. I had a nice bit of money on it, and then it won the next day at 7-4, so I made my money back.
Yeah. Linus, do you think the UFC flyweight division will be more exciting if they made the weight limit 35 pounds instead of 25?
They'd literally be flying around the octagon.
I was reading that, right, and I was like, oh, Linus has a legit like completely normal question, and then he got me.
He sucked you in, man.
Don't mention sucking in because he'll come back on that one. This is Thomas Broom Jones. I'm currently watching UFC 217, and I'm waiting to see how many extra 5 minutes it's gonna add. All right, yeah. Currently on Dillashaw versus Garbrandt. I think I can make it to Rose versus Joanna. Now we'll be finished now in a minute. We're waiting to get those likes up to 40 before we leave. I think, let me just check the community tab in case we missed something, because
Drew L said he lost $20 on Yoel v Costa and retired. I can't blame him on that one.
Jeez, man.
That was a close fight.
Paddy Power started to do fantasy MMA recently.
Did you have a go on it, yeah?
Yeah. I had a little go. I was doing all right, and I picked Dom as because I needed to try to fit someone in. I was like, he could do well, he might win it, and that's the one that messed me up.
Yeah, tough.
But I had Gaethje, scored some big points.
They'd literally flying. Nice one, Sean. Thanks, Linus. You'd appreciate that one.
I think Chris No Pants Laymans wants to be our producer, Sean.
No.
Sean.
Man, he's been giving us guff in the chat there. Fuck yeah.
Has he been giving us guff? Is that the guy that said we shouldn't be talking about MMA because I haven't had that many street fights?
He said, but he said we need a guy who knows MMA well.
Mate.
You know MMA pretty well. I don't know about me now, but...
I love that on an MMA podcast. I don't know if I know MMA. I'm just going to talk about it. You do, Sean. It's just you're a bit of a newer fan. I've been watching MMA for a long time. That's the only reason. And I have a weird obsession with it. So
Chris also said, so good luck, lol. Fuck you then.
Costa is very underrated. He comfortably beat Yoel, pressured constantly, and was the only one landing legit knockdown. Yoel was pointing him, and Costa looked away, and he got hit.
Costa's a monster, man.
Costa is very, very good. And do you know what's crazy about Costa? When you look at him and you're like, that guy throws hammers, he's going to slow down. Doesn't really slow down. He might be on EPO or something. I'm joking. But he doesn't slow down. It's crazy. Do you know what? Speaking of producers, the original setup of this the podcast was Sean was our producer. He was kind of on camera, almost like just the odd time and chimed in when we had stuff going on. Then Noel had a baby, left, and then Sean stepped up to the plate and has been phenomenal ever since.
Took the fight on late notice.
Took it on late notice, and first round knockout.
Yeah, whereas I'm personally challenged here from the at-home setup because most of we were always in the studio in Dublin, and I didn't have necessarily the equipment at home, so
yeah,
slowly getting there. I need to sort of light out, and then I think I'm pretty much good to go. Maybe a better webcam as well.
Yeah.
Although the webcam I have, I nicked it from work, and it says 180p on it, but it definitely doesn't look 180p on YouTube there.
Yeah, that's just marketing, man. It's marketing.
So.
If you just haven't checked it out, by the way, I always forget to plug it. I wrote a video for MMA on Point recently. It's not their most recent one. It's the one before that. It's most disappointing moments in MMA. Check it out.
Nice. I watched it. It was very good, Rob. I enjoyed it.
Thanks.
I think we spoke about that one before. Biggest disappointments.
Yeah. So it's kind of an old one that I've...
I remember we were chatting off there one time about that.
Yeah.
See, Chris, No Pants is getting a bit of stick in the chat there. Go on, lads. Fucking give it to him.
I genuinely don't think he was actually being a dick on that comment. I don't think he was. But like,
Meh.
he was a dick earlier on.
Yeah.
We're only joking, Chris. You asked it. So he asked a few decent questions actually.
Yeah, he
fair.
did. To be fair.
To be fair.
I'm angry, or am I high? Or both.
Remember I was talking about doing that greatest UFC champions of all time thing, and
Yeah,
I guaranteed
still
it
talking
would.
about
I guaranteed it would happen 2 weeks in a row, and I
that.
said
Yeah,
I'd sign
pure
a
Dana
contract.
White
on them.
stuff there.
Holy moly, it's gonna happen soon. Do you know what it was? Right, I was gonna do it, and then I was like, I was looking at all the champions, and I was like, man, I can't remember a few of their fights. So I went back and I watched every fight. I can't really remember. I couldn't really remember. So it took me a long time to do it because I wanted to be prepared. So that is coming. And I have now officially, I remember every single fight, every single UFC championship fight, Sean.
Nice.
If you believe that.
It's very Dana White-esque there.
I know.
I heard him multiple times during fight week there say, I never guarantee you that a fight is going to deliver because I can't. But I guarantee you that Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson will deliver. And I mean, it did, but it easily couldn't have, so.
Yeah.
Classic Dana White shithousery.
I feel like, remember when I said we're going to wait till we get to that 40 likes mark before we finish up? It's on 39 for the past like 10 minutes. I think people just want to keep us here. But come on, someone hit that like, and we'll answer a few more questions, and then we'll get out of here because we're going way too long in this. This is unbelievable. So any more questions in there, or people just ripping the piss out of each other?
We're going to start a CTE fundraiser for Chris.
Do you know what? I think I had something that I wanted to talk
CTE
about.
fundraiser?
No. I thought I had something I wanted to talk about, but evidently not, because I can't really remember.
We were going to talk about that waiver to do with the UFC.
Oh, yeah. But
I'm not even that arsed now.
yeah.
Shite, like, I think people know.
I love how dismissive of it you were. So apparently the UFC 249 prelims peaked at 1.592 viewers and another 500,000 on ESPN Plus. Don't really know what that is because I have nothing to reference it against, but I'm gonna guess.
Was that on the main ESPN channel?
Was it on the main ESPN channel? Someone let me know. Who's in America? Let us know if the prelims aired on big ESPN. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't have.
We've gone down a like.
Someone went down. Oh,
damn,
dicks.
Chris, was
that you?
Wants to keep us here.
I have dinner waiting for me. It's unbelievable. Colby versus Conor. I think that's a tough fight for Conor.
That's a very tough fight for Conor.
Yeah.
MVP of the Chat Awards to Linus, says Thomas Broom Jones. Obviously,
yeah.
Linus gets MVP.
If you want to see,
he's a volume guy, really.
He is a volume guy. He doesn't do the one punch. It's like just keeps landing them. If you want to see some amazing comments, go check out the comments on the last live chat from Sunday from Linus.
Do you know what? I was having a read of these, and I seen you and Linus discussing it. So you reply off the actual MMA movement account.
Yeah.
I seen you and Linus discussing some movies, and I'm not a massive movie guy, but it looked some proper trash movies.
Samurai Cop. It's terrible, but it's one of them films you want to watch. Like Troll 2. Did you ever see Troll 2, Sean?
Are we talking like, I love Fast and Furious?
Oh no, even worse than this. Even worse. Like Fast and the Furious just takes the piss, but these films are just like, they're B movies. But like watch Troll 2 or Samurai Cop. Wolf Cop is different because Wolf Cop is like, they know they're bad, I think. I'm not sure that Trolls knew it was bad or Samurai Cop knew it was bad. Wolf Cop is going for that idea.
Drew L says it was Fight Pass, ESPN, then pay-per-view. So yeah, that's right. That's decent.
Yeah. But anyway, we should just leave it here. Some people are removing likes because they're trying to fuck with us, but I'm sure they'll add them back, Sean. But we'll have to leave it there. We'll be back next Tuesday.
That was fun.
It was fun. Thanks for the super chat, super gift. You should have asked a question. Next time you do that, ask a question because we want to get to it. But we'll be back next Tuesday. I want to do that video on the best UFC champions ever soon. I'm not going to guarantee
If
it's
anyone
this
wants
week.
a price on when that will happen, I'll happily price it up for you.
Yeah. I'm not going to guarantee when exactly it's going to be, but it will be soon and it's going to be a good one. I'm probably going to do it live as well, so I want to get your take on each one.
I might hop in the chat and join Linus in that one.
Yeah. Talk shit. You, Linus, and Chris talk some shit on it.
And Thomas in the chat as well.
Yeah.
We just need Sal and Pompous for the full house.
Yeah. But fun. Thanks for joining the chat. As we said, subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Whoever removed the like, just add it back there.
Yeah, whoever removed the like, just sit and have a look at yourself in the mirror and have a long hard think about life.
Exactly. But always fun. Sean, thanks for joining me again, and I will see you
everyone.
next Tuesday.
Yeah.